Ross Davenport, how are you?
Charlie Velasquez, good evening, sir. I'm well. Yourself?
Did you notice I put you in the intro? Did you notice? You weren't even looking. You weren't even looking.
I was prepping on the other screen. I did not notice.
I included that crazy try in your game that you did.
Oh.
the last one.
The crazy try in the crazy game. I asked you once already why you're wearing that shirt. I'm not going to ask you again.
I was trying to find out what happened with England this weekend because...
Meanwhile, I'm wearing a winning team.
Okay.
Second week in a row. If you didn't catch the last 10 minutes of that game, the Wasps game, you really should watch the last 10 minutes of that game, as well as the 6 minutes of injury time that led up to our victory over the Exeter Chiefs. So, yeah, we won't talk about England. No Six Nations talk here. We don't have time for that. I got to go to work today. Which is not a normal thing, but I had to work some things around for some days off elsewhere, so I am working today. So we've got an hour. So let's get to this, Charlie. This is week 3.
Yes.
It's episode 40 there. We forgot to mention that. We got to 40.
Amazing.
4-0. I'm sticking with my glasses today, even though they shine on the screen because I'm blind as a bat. I haven't figured out how to get them like you, where I'm not glaring, but nobody.
That's okay.
Nobody will worry about it. So yeah, episode 40. Congratulations, Charlie. We got this far.
For 40 more, huh? Ching ching.
Let's see. I'd be happy to get to 10 more. Anyway, week 3, as we said, lots of action in Florida rugby. We'll get to all that in a minute. We are sponsored tonight by Christopher Ream, who we thought he might show up tonight, Charlie, but he hasn't as of yet. If he does later, He may. We'll get to him. He's a certified financial planner. So if you have some finances that you need planned, Chris Ream is the one to talk to. I don't have any money. Charlie's got a picture of a horse back there. I don't know if you own that horse, Charlie. I don't have the money to buy a horse. I don't have any money to be planned yet. Maybe down the road.
I actually do have a horse.
You do have a horse.
I didn't buy it, but I have it. Okay.
You have it. Okay. You rent it.
No, it was a gift. My daughter was gifted. Valentina was gifted with.
Well, what is the name of this horse? We're getting
Diamante. Diamante.
Shout out to Diamante. He's not watching, but shout out to. I'm a big horse. Not a horse guy, but I do like horses. Mostly betting on them and watching them finish last after doing that. But anyway, thanks to Chris for sponsoring this episode. If he comes on later, we'll have him on. But if you have any interest in tax issues, estate, and financial planning, reach out to Chris Ream. You can Google him, or you can get in touch with Charlie and I, and we'll give you his information. Is it CSENGE? C-S-E-N-G-E? Advisory group?
I don't know. He went sort of French.
Sange.
I don't know.
Sounds very French. French with a big victory over the Italians today. Jose Bermudez says he loves Tifro. Who doesn't, Jose?
Yeah, man. Hey, Jose, we need a sponsor. If you love it so much, come back. Come back. Thank you.
Who's that? Where's that Irish fly half real estate who's been selling these $1 million homes?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get him.
Anyway, thanks to Chris he's a longtime sponsor here and there of Tifro. We appreciate his assistance. Let's go to off the top. One thing I forgot to mention last week, Charlie. Well, MLR started this weekend. Rugby ATL I guess they're our local team. They won to start things off this weekend. And with local, we forgot to mention Lucas Bystracki. Former University of Florida, also played up there in Atlanta. He was named their strength and conditioning coach, as well as they added a skills coach. He was their strength and conditioning coach previously, and he now adds the role of skills coach after the loss of Scott Lawrence. They made some changes up there in Atlanta. So congrats to Lucas, originally from Argentina, also played for USA South. One of the sort of early Florida, elite products to go, outside of the state and really make an impact. So. Out of the high school program, I should say, high school program. So congrats to Lucas on that. It was high school signing week this week, Charlie. This past week, obviously most sports had plenty of signees. We had 2 that I know of. If we've forgotten anybody, let us know. But Reardon Sweet of Swiffle Hammerheads Youth, he signed for Kutztown up in Pennsylvania. It's going to be a bit of a weather change there for him. And then Logan Ballinger of the Boca Raton Buccaneers signed for life. So congrats to those 2 with those signings. To obviously life, perhaps more of a name program, but Kutztown, very sneaky good rugby program up there in Pennsylvania as well. So congrats to those guys. We do have some sad news to finish off the top this week. Jordi Adames, a player for the Claymores / Indian River. Fortunately, lost his life this past week in a small plane crash up in Virginia, I think it was. I know the boys up there miss him dearly, and they came together and won a game this past weekend. So congratulations to the Claymores. I know that they played that game with heavy hearts, but I'm sure Jordi is upstairs somewhere watching them and congratulating them and cheering them on. So our thoughts go out to the Claymores and Indian River,
Of course.
for the loss of Jordi. I know he was a big part of that team, and he will be sorely missed.
Ross, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, because I was told that the audio was not very good. Okay, let's move on.
I will move closer to my microphone. I can hear you, though.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
I hope so. Okay, so that was our off the top stuff. So we've got a short episode today. I got to get out of here at 8 because I got to get to work.
Yes.
But so let's go to. We have a new club, Charlie, in Florida.
We do, which is always great news. And we wanted to welcome the Orlando. I'm going to screw up the name, so you say it.
Charlie, how could you screw up the name in 6 letters?
I mean, I'm terrible with names. Sorry.
It's the Orlando Otters.
There you go.
We do have otters here in Florida. My son is big into animals,
really?
and he always tells me that there are lots of otters around. They're nasty little people, nasty little creatures, as opposed to the rugby team, who I've heard so far are a great bunch of guys. So let's bring in Corey Fisher.
Hi, how are you guys?
Live from his car in Orlando,
Yes.
Florida.
Appreciate it.
He's not in a hostage situation. We can confirm that. He's just in his car.
We had
having a
a
social
practice today, and everyone's at the social, so I ducked away to come here.
All right, practice on a Sunday. I like it. Listen,
Yep,
I know you guys aren't playing it, so that makes some sense a little bit. But let's tell us a bit about yourself, and then tell us a bit about how these Orlando Otters have come about, and tell us about this club.
So I played on the Orlando Griffins for about 3 years, and that team was great. But unfortunately, as a gay player in the world, I thought that it would be better to see who else would want to play on an inclusive team. So after 3 years, I decided to start the team. We've had such a great reception. We have about 15 plus people coming out to practice right now. We have big plans to play our starting games in April. We're going to the Mark Bingham Cup, which is in Ottawa in August. And then very soon we hope to be part of FRU in the union and then start fielding a D4 and D2 team respectively. So
I love the logo. Charlie, put the logo up again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
Some of these teams don't really focus on their logos, but I love this Orlando Otters logo.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
Very
it just
sharp.
represents everything: inclusivity, trans players, people of color, the LGBTQ plus, and then we're the Orlando, and it's kind of a quip. Otters in the gay community it's a little bit of a joke. So
Yes.
it ties in all of what we want it to be. So
Has the union been in contact with you?
yes. So the president, Kerry O'Malley, literally the first day that I formed the team, gave me a welcome call. We've been in talks about getting all the paperwork and everything set up. They've been a wonderful help. So
Great stuff. Who can we give credit for this logo, Corey? I need to get them some more business. We need some more cool logos like this.
let me. His name is Adrian Perez. He plays on another IGR team. I have to find out which team. I'm not sure, but Adrian Perez.
Well, if you're in need of a cool looking rugby logo, I know there's a few teams out there that could do with some updated logos and some better marketing.
Listen,
get in
Ross,
touch with Corey. Go ahead, Charlie.
I'm actually thinking of. I just haven't found the time, but I look at all the social media from the clubs, and there are really some teams that are doing some outstanding work on that. So I am going to try to gather these pieces and maybe at the end of the season we'll give somebody a prize.
Best social media presence. I like it. Best general presence.
So, but it's been improving a lot lately. I have noticed.
So tell us about IGR as well, Corey, and just sort of what that involves, and Bingham Cup for those because I know what Bingham Cup is, but some people out there might not know.
Of course. So we'll be playing also with FRU, but IGR mainly. IGR is the International Gay Association for Rugby. And essentially that was formed, I want to get my facts straight, but I believe back in 2001. So it's been around for a while. It's an international organization. I believe there's over 200 different teams. There's about 20 to 25 in North America alone. So the Bingham Cup is for the fallen hero Mark Bingham, who was on Flight United 93 during 9/11. He was tragically lost his life, but it was said that he was the hero who helped take down the hijackers so the third plane never met its final destination. So it's a biannual tournament that changes cities every 2 years. And it's just a collection of, I think it's right now 145 teams, 20 countries, and 4,000 players.
Wow.
Awesome stuff. So sell your club for us, Corey. Last of all, sell your club. Somebody's in Orlando and they're interested in playing rugby. Why come play for the Otters?
If you want to come and have a social experience in the true rugby culture, and you want the fun and inclusion without a lot of the toxic masculinity that goes into some team sports, and if you want to try something new at a base level, come out and see us. We're a fun time.
Awesome. And where can they find you, Corey?
You can find us at the Orlando Otters RFC. We practice at Rose Place Park in Metro West in Orlando every Sunday at 12 p.m. And then on Facebook as well, the Orlando Otters RFC.
Okay, so Sunday practices, that's a little different than some teams, but I like the one practice thing, because if you get everybody there for one practice, some of these teams struggle with getting everybody there for two practices, and you sort of get a split team. But if you can get everybody there for one, that's good stuff. Well, thanks for coming on, Corey. Good luck with everything with the Otters, and keep us in touch.
We will. We'll talk soon. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, man.
Good stuff there from Corey, the president of the Orlando Otters. Yeah, Bingham Cup's definitely something people should look up and find out about. That's a pretty serious rugby event. I'd perhaps love to go up and referee at some point, wherever Ottawa's perhaps a little far if it comes back down. Maybe Orlando can host it one year, but it's a serious event.
It's pretty big also,
from around the country. All right, let's get to our games from this weekend, Charlie. We talked about the biggest one last weekend. Unfortunately, it didn't quite live up to the billing, but we still have to go over it. It was a very one-sided affair, unfortunately.
Well, you're going to hear from the guys.
We do have two people one from each team.
Yes,
we have Emo Sergio from the Boca Bucks, as well as Gonzalo Torres Garcia from the Tridents. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Hi, guys. Hi, Federico.
Let's start with Gonzalo. Gonzalo, as you're new to the show, give us a little bit of your rugby history, but just a quick rugby history of Gonzalo before we get to this game.
I mean, Charlie could give the history if he wants to. Basically, started in the youth groups here. One of the first few teams being the Rugby Rats from Key Biscayne. I probably started around 8 or 9 with the first group of kids. It was typical dads bringing their kids to the park. Let's teach them rugby. Big RG community.
Yep.
Moved up through the ranks all the way up to high school. And then ended up going to FIU with my brothers as well as Charlie's son to play there under Ronnie Suarez. And then actually last year, it was my first season with the Tridents, trying to get into the men's culture a little bit more and just keep on playing as long as I can.
And you did some USA South.
And I did do USA South, I want to say end of last year. Oh, no, beginning of this year. Never mind.
Man, my head all over. Did the hit you on the head or something?
Yeah,
Charlie, Charlie, did we get a score from the South this weekend? I didn't see one. I wasn't looking particularly hard.
I did not get a score. I know that they won and they played very well. But Gonzalo may know.
I believe the final score was 30-27 or something around that. I heard they were down 20-0 at the first half, and then
who were they playing? I know they were playing up in Atlanta.
Old Glory.
The academy side. Development side. Good win. Austin Parrish updates us in the comments that it was 30-27 South. So nice win for them. So let's talk about your game yesterday, Gonzalo. You know, Tridents and Boca. Obviously, you're new to the Tridents team, but Tridents Boca are one of the biggest rivalries over the last 5 or 6 years or so in Florida rugby. You know, things are a little different now. The pandemic's changed everybody a little bit. Some teams are struggling a little more than others. I know both teams yesterday were missing key players. Give us your thoughts on this match yesterday. Obviously, a big win for you guys.
Yeah, it was all throughout the week in training. All the old boys saying the importance of this game, and I've seen old footage and all that kind of stuff, and it's always been a great match. It was actually 10-5 at the half. Very intense, physical. I believe both team structures were really great. We matched up really well. But then second half, I believe our impact subs and we started capitalizing off of some of their errors. And that's when the margins started to hit off. But first half was great. Loved the game. Just a good day of rugby.
Let me just say this quickly. Like the first 20 minutes, you guys were playing between your 22s.
Yeah.
Like
we were on the back foot for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah, this game being played down North Miami. Well, meanwhile, I was down in basically North Havana in Kendall, refereeing.
That's
I do
not
appreciate.
North Havana,
I do appreciate Anthony Range. It's a lot closer. I do appreciate their grass there. Their grass is always nice and long and sort of more typical of a European rugby pitch. Let's go to Emo. We'll come back to you in a second, Gonzalo. Emo, give us a bit of your rugby history for those that don't know you. I obviously know you, but give us a bit of your rugby history.
Great. Yeah, so I started playing for about 11 years ago at UCF, playing with a lot of the old Fort Lauderdale guys like Gerhard and whatnot. Played in college for about a year. Started playing sevens, then moved down to West Palm Beach after college and started playing for Boca for a good 3 years before moving to New Zealand to play for a season. Awesome. I think that's where I learned most of my rugby knowledge was playing in New Zealand. Fucking the pace of rugby there is just fast paced and just very hardcore, and it's a culture there more than just a sport itself. Yeah. Then after returning from New Zealand, I played for Boca for the remainder of my career, and I've been here since.
Now, obviously, you guys, I think we're missing some players, especially up front in this one, but you guys hung around for the first half. You played back row. Give us your opinion from your viewpoint yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. The first half of the match was a dogfight by far. Both sides were giving it their all. We were hungry. They were hungry that first half. That second half, though, a couple of our newer guys. We're a young club. We were missing a handful of guys, but still, that really doesn't matter, and that doesn't take much away from Miami because Tridents did open it up that second half, and they capitalized on our mistakes, the missed passes, the ill-advised passes behind the backs, or
there's one there. There's one right here we're watching that appeared to lead to a try.
So but it's little mistakes that we made that Tridents definitely capitalized on that second half. The first half, like I said, it was neck and neck. We really didn't know who was going to win that game, but within the first 10, 15 minutes, the second half, you started seeing some guys start to fall apart. But that's what the rivalry between us and Tridents has been. It's always been a dogfight, and I think even when we see them again in 2 or 3 weeks, we hope for it to be a different result. But I guarantee it's still going to be a dogfight.
No, for sure. All the matches between these two sides, always end up typically like that first half, and then it's either one bit of skill or sort of one mistake that leads to a game-breaking try. Obviously, things got a little out of hand in the second half, so it was perhaps a little closer than the score suggested. Listen, this is why we have you guys on to find out about what happened in these matches. Gonzalo, talk about this, how you've enjoyed playing with the Tridents so far, and sort of where this team stands after this is 3 games, right? Got 3 wins, I think, so far under the belt.
Yeah, we've developed a very core group of guys sticking around. Very big South American community up in the Tridents. I know a few years ago it was very French oriented, the club. But basically, our whole backline.
You got rid of the Frenchies, huh? Good.
One American and our backline.
Wow.
So we have that RG connection, which I think is doing great.
Who are some players that stick out for you, Gonzalo, that you think
we have,
really lead this team?
Yeah, Lucas
one
from Argentina that came back this season just to basically play with us.
Who's that? Sorry, I didn't catch the name.
Lucas. He plays front row, number 1, right there supporting Fede on the run.
Big boy, yeah.
Yes, a big unit. Then we have the famous Germán Arey, who does the social. So he does his own choris to offer to all the teams.
And he's also played in the US with the Panthers.
He's also played USF, yeah. So he couldn't make it this weekend to play with the Panther South. So we were very fortunate to have him with us because we also have Mauro, who's our current 9, who is doing outstanding with the Panther South, as well with Martin Mariowitz, who was playing 10 with Panther South as well.
I was going to say, you're missing your 9-10. It's part of the best 9-10 combination in what could be the best 9-10 combination in the state. Mariowitz, former life star, somebody who was talked about as a potential MLR draft pick coming into this season. He didn't play in this game either. So scary stuff. This Tridents team could be very good. Emo, talk about the situation in Boca at the moment. I know obviously Tristan Gray dealing with an injury. He's been out. Your influential 10. Some other guys you're missing, but how obviously a disappointing loss. But I think obviously you were 2-0 coming into this game. Nice win up in Orlando, and you squeaked one against Miami. Even you guys were a little short again. But How is it look? How are things looking as a club from a 10,000 foot perspective, Emo?
To me, I think right now we're in a good place for currently and for the future. We have a lot of younger guys that are kind of building our nucleus. The guys that come from FAU, the Calvins, the Louis, the Burnleys. They're younger guys, but they're coming in. They're fitting in very well. And then we have the older heads like me, Trini, Tristan. Tristan's still young, but you have the older guys in the club. Then we have our imports as well, such as Brendan and Michael Kirk. And those guys that we could have used in our game of this past Saturday, that could have been a very influential part as well. So going forward, I see the Boca Club as being a competitor. We're gonna be in a dogfight to the end of it because we have a very solid team from top to bottom. And like I said, not to take anything away from Miami because you guys put on a hell of a match. But I know the next match coming up is going to be a lot more competitive, a lot more tighter, a lot closer in points. It's going to be similar to the first half of 10-5, where you're just like, holy shit! To win this match, you got to bring your all in that second half. So going forward, I believe in my boys. I know they believe in themselves as well. It's just back to the grind. I mean, if you can't come back from a beating like this with with a chip on your shoulder, then you're in the wrong sport. You're playing the wrong sport. Like. I know myself. I'm just like, all right. Next time on a rugby field, it's great business. So, and I feel as if the guys have that same mentality as well. So going forward, it should be a very interesting run to the playoffs.
Well, I know Trident's got a couple of weeks off here. I was just looking at the schedule until the next game against Miami. I reffed the first meeting between you guys earlier this season. It wasn't the best display of rugby ever. I have a feeling the second meeting will be a little better with both teams having some games under their belt. Are you guys entering a team at Ruggerfest next week?
Yes, I believe so. We're trying to get everything sorted out just to have a great time and play some more rugby.
And how about Boca, Emo? You guys playing as well? I know you got a week off and then back. You play Miami in the next game. That's on the 19th.
Oh, did I get lost? Oh, no. I'm here. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're taking week off. We're not entering a team. We're going to relax. Our bodies need it. We're going to hang out with the girlfriends and the wives and take a little guys' week and just hang out with each other.
Great.
Well, good luck to you guys out there trying to have fun out there, man.
Yeah, we seem to remember Boca playing last year again, and something happened. If I can't remember what happened. But.
That's exactly why Boca.
Maybe that's why.
That's exactly why Boca's not even mentioning or considering it.
I understand. Well, speaking of wives, the wife says Bob should make an appearance on the podcast. I don't know who Bob is.
Tell her Bob only comes around 4th of July.
Bob only comes around 4th of July. That's all we need to know. All right. Well, boys, thanks for coming on. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm sure we'll have you on again before the end of the season.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
Charlie Ross, like always. Let's keep this going.
Thanks, Fede.
Cheers, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
So let me play
there. Yeah, it was a shocking result. Shocking result, Charlie, just to go over the game. But, this is why we have this show, because I didn't know the score at halftime was only a one-try game, and things kind of got out of hand. So this is the kind of stuff we find out.
We should probably report halftime scores, because I've seen so many games that
we have trouble reporting full-time scores, Charlie.
Well, I only screwed up one this time around. Okay.
No, it's not your fault. I'm just saying people don't report them to you. And if you can find somebody,
because that tells a lot. There are so many games, even like the one we're going to talk now with Rocky. The first half, I think it was just like 10, 15 points, and then it ended.
Well, let's talk to the man from Cardinal Gibbons, the head honcho with the Chiefs.
Right away.
One Chiefs team lost yesterday to my Wasps. Another Chiefs team did not lose, and that was the Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs, defending U19 state champions, and we're joined today by Rocky Miaris, their head coach. I love guys that have all these books behind them. Rocky, how many of those books have you actually read?
Not a single one.
I figured there might be a rugby book up there or two that you may have read. You're putting this on the girlfriend or / wife.
Nope.
You just want to make yourself look smart. I understand.
There's some cigars. Smoke the cigars. That's about it.
All right, so Cardinal Gibbons, obviously state champions last year, came close the year before, and off to a rolling start this year. Let's talk about this game against Key Biscayne. Key Biscayne, one of these sides that we always think perhaps they're going to take that next step, Charlie. But not the biggest team in the world, and going up against probably the biggest team in the States. So, Rocky, how did this game go from your vantage point here on Saturday?
Rocky, you need to give these guys whatever you guys eat. Maybe that would help.
Don't these Argies eat nothing but beef, Charlie?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just it's genes, man. But Rocky, go ahead. Talk about this game for us here from the start here.
Well, just based off of last year's match, we knew how they like to play in regards to they really just go quick, and they're so quick to the ball in regards to poaching. So that was really our main concern all week, was running with support, not going by yourself. And we stressed it all week, and they still probably stole 4 or 5 balls from us. But we did a much better job. We were pretty quick to get into the rucks and clearing them out, and just kind of, we kind of just wear them down. That's kind of what we do anyways. We just try to play smash ball, especially early on, and just a lot of people try to stick with that. And a lot of people can do it for 10, 20, 30 minutes, but when you got to do it for 70, it really wears you down. And, I think the score doesn't reflect how tough of a game it was. They're a really good side, a lot of good players, tough kids. We kind of pulled away at the end, but it was not easy by any means.
So similar to the Boca game, what was the score at the half?
This might have been 21-0, something like that. 21-3.
All right, so still within reach.
Yeah. Oh no,
it wasn't out of reach by any means.
I mean, we spent the first 10 to 15 minutes on inside our own 22.
Putting that pressure on. Yeah. Yeah. This Key Biscayne team, obviously, heavy Argentinian presence of kids that grew up with a rugby ball in their hands versus your guys who, many of them didn't touch a rugby ball till they were 14, 15 years of age, if that.
Yeah, no, that's what kind of showed this week was our experience a little bit. We're finally, we've got a squad now that returned a lot of guys. And, we knew from the jump we were going to have a chance to be really good early on, which usually isn't our MO. We typically struggle out of the gate.
Yeah, last year.
This year we knew we didn't have any excuses. There was no reason to be poor out of the gate. And, I think we're showing the state that. And we're deep. When we get everyone, we're still missing probably about 6 guys.
You mentioned you guys were trying to start a 16s team this year, so that really shows the depth you have.
Yeah, it's less of a U16, more of a B side kind of.
Yeah, so JV.
It's going to be young guys, and there'd be some older guys, but just have no rugby experience. So it was really just to try to get guys reps, and we were trying to make it work with Key Biscayne, but we couldn't quite figure out a time because I have 2 guys that start that are 15 years old. So those guys, they start, but they still need more experience. So we were hoping to play them early on and then get them in again come the second game, if we were able to play a U16 game B-side after. But, unfortunately, we weren't able to.
Yeah, winning the state championship last year, how good of a recruiting tool was that around school? You mentioned you've got a ton of guys back last year, but this is the most you've had. How good of a recruiting tool was that?
Well, it definitely helps. And, we were able to raise some money and get everyone state championship rings. So I think wearing that bling around campus really helps too.
Yes, it does. That's for sure. Talk about this team. Who are some guys to watch? This is a powerful run here from
that one for sure.
Yeah, that's Greg right there. It's Greg Otten. He's a defensive end running like a running back. There's a lot of guys to name. I don't want to go down the list. It's just going to take too long. Some guys we're really excited about. One in particular, just because I see him on the screen there, is Mason Thomas. He's a 4-star defensive end who just signed with Oklahoma, and he played running back up until like his junior year of high school. So he runs like a 4.5 40, and we were able to get him in at the end of the game. So when he really learns all that what's going on, I mean, he had one run that was incredible when he tripped, and he didn't realize he could get back up. He could have kept going. He could have got back up and scored, but he doesn't realize it. So once he learns all that, I mean, he's someone to really, really watch out. And once we get some more of our wrestlers, and we got another kid who just came out from basketball. Again, we're not even at full strength yet, so we're really excited.
You probably have
scary stuff, man. Scary stuff.
You probably don't even have that time to teach all these things because there are so many things in rugby, right? That you sort of learn throughout the time. But you guys have a very tight schedule, right? From when they start to practice until they end.
Well, we're lucky this year because we have so much experience.
Yeah.
When we started training, we were able to get into more of the complex stuff about rugby. typically in years past, we're so young and inexperienced. I spend the first 2 weeks going over how to place the ball, how to set up a defensive line, how to work that pendulum with our fullback and our wings, just the real basic stuff. This year, those guys already knew it. So we were able to get into some of the more complex drills and stuff like that and really focus on our fitness.
Good stuff, man. Listen, 52 points in each of your first 2 games. You've got a lot of home games coming. You don't really have a long road trip, which it might not suck for some people, but I think it sucks just because, that's where you really get that team camaraderie is on those long road trips. You got home games coming up against Tampa and Jacksonville, teams making long trips. And then obviously that big one on the 26th against Okapi, which I think many people will be focused on. But looking forward to
just
seeing
so
you guys
people
out there. And obviously you're playing your game next week at Ruggerfest. So that'll be fun.
Yep, playing Tampa at Ruggerfest. We were supposed to travel to Naples. Something happened with their field. That's why we ended up.
That's right. You got the extra home game. Yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to travel, and whatever reason they couldn't get their field figured out. So we were able to make it work at our place.
Why are you guys playing in Ruggerfest, which I think is awesome, of course.
Obviously I play for Fort Lauderdale. Real tight with the board. So I kind of reached out to our board. I said, can we get a spot? I figured it'd be really cool for us and Tampa to play at a venue like that. There's rugby going around.
Yep.
They were able to make a spot. So we are locked in at 1:30 next Saturday at Piccolo Park. So.
Beautiful. Should be a great crowd there. And if you're out there just, playing or watching, come out and watch this Cardinal Gibbons side. They're, showing what they're capable of after winning the state title last year. And I think there should be plenty of teams out there scared of not playing them, but scared of what this team can do.
We're hoping to just keep getting better. That's really it.
Good stuff, Rocky. Thanks a lot, mate. See you next week at Ruggerfest.
Hey, man.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, listen, Charlie, they don't play, some people will say they don't play a particularly pretty brand of rugby, but they do, this is what you've got physically given to you, right? It's like South Africa last year, in the last Rugby World Cup, they just ground and pound, and England just couldn't hang with them.
You play what you have, they say.
You spin it wide. Yeah, you spin it wide and when you need to and score in the corner. So
they
exciting stuff from Cardinal Gibbons, certainly making their name nationally, even at the U19 level.
But let me tell you, I do think that they are improving, like moving out of that game so tight and like
you saw them play. You saw them play yesterday,
so
you would know. I think I'm certainly going to try and watch them, if not ref them at Ruggerfest. So I'd love to see what they've got and see what hopefully Tampa brings down a solid squad, because I know they can be competitive when they travel. All right. Do we want to go down the list of games, or do you want to bring in Nick?
No,
what do you want to do, Charlie?
Let's bring in Nick, as we have him.
Let's bring in Nick. We're on Ruggerfest. Let's bring in Nick Vickers from Fort Lauderdale RFC.
Another Fort Lauderdale guy. They should be sponsors.
You guys can't put me on after Rocky. Come on, are you serious? That's unbelievable.
He showed up before you. You have to come in early.
Is that
man.
how you do it?
You have to come on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, they've won more. They've won more cups than that. They've won more trophies than that jersey behind you has over the last 5 years, Nick. So
actually, I did want to pick on something. I did want to pick up on something you said earlier, Ross, that you needed your glasses for the podcast. Yeah, I've never seen you in one game ever referee with a pair of glasses, and it probably explains a lot.
Listen, they're for my short-sightedness. I like to get away from the ruck. I like to move away from the ruck so I can see everything. I don't want to be too up. Listen, I said to the boys yesterday, I make mistakes just like everybody else does. But
dude, I'm
I don't call these players out.
You're the best we got.
Please. I don't call these players out while they call me out for 80 minutes. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to Ruggerfest, Nick. Obviously, it was a big success last year, moving to the 10s format. Had some serious teams coming down. I remember Hartford Harpooners versus Green Bay in the final that I reffed. And that was a super fun game. It was a little one-sided, but it was a level of rugby that we don't get to see that much in Florida, except at Ruggerfest. Perhaps at state and South championships, etc. So give us an update for those of you that aren't in the loop. Charlie and I are in the loop, thanks to you. But give us an update on where Ruggerfest stands coming into this Saturday.
Yeah, so we're ready to move it into gear. 1 week away. Big change for everybody listening is obviously it's not going to be at Mills Pond Park this year. It's at Brian Piccolo Park in Hollywood. So don't want anyone turning up to Mills Pond expecting to see rugby. We're a few miles down the road.
Yes, far, though.
You should put a sign.
Well, actually, in all honesty, Mills Pond last year, those fields were in a little bit of desperate shape. So
they were because they stopped maintaining them because they were going to turf.
Yeah, they're making the switch there, which actually was one of the big problems that we had was actually securing a field. just trying to like shoot around Broward and trying to find somewhere we could accommodate the tournament. So Piccolo was pretty much the only park. But when I went out there and took a look at it, actually those fields are beautiful. So
nice.
Awesome.
It's certainly an upgrade on field space from what we had last year. Once again, tennis-side concept. We felt like we kind of rocked it last year, so we obviously were sticking with that. I don't see any real reason to change that moving forward. We've got $5,000 prize pool this year. We've got $4,000 top prize for the men, and we've got $1,000 for the ladies. But in addition to tens, like Rocky just mentioned, we've got the high school game there. We've got a 6-team touch rugby tournament going on there on the same day. And then we've got a bunch of old boys rugby there. So it's like, pick your poison. We've kind of got it all on the day. We're excited. Outside of the rugby side of things, we've got like 3 or 4 live bands playing. We've got food, we've got beer, we've got merchandise. So, even if you've never watched a rugby game in your life, you don't care about rugby, you don't want to watch it, bring your wives, bring your girlfriends, bring your friends, whoever you want to do. At the very least, they can sit there, grab a beer, and listen to some music in the beautiful sunshine.
Just don't watch touch. Listen, my opinion on touch. I've lost 2 referees to ACLs and one with a wrecked ankle this year just to touch alone. And
I tell you what, we'll cancel the touch. Then it's off.
For those of you that want to be entertained, those of you who want to be entertained by contact, please go and watch the tens.
Hey, touch can be fun, man.
Who are some teams coming in, Nick, that we would be excited to see?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got the Harpooners coming back. I mean, you mentioned
Harpooners, yes. We had Nick from Marky from the Harpooners on a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I've spoken to him a good few times. Good man. He's sort of informed me a lot about. They travel all over the country and enter some pretty high level tournaments. So his advice and sort of, the things we did well and the things we didn't do well was good for me to hear. We got them coming back in. Obviously, they
defending champs too. Don't forget they're defending their title.
Yeah, well, I think they came under Optimus Selects last year.
Yeah, they did.
Essentially, it was them, right?
Yes.
And then we got the Dead Pelicans boys coming from California. We've got the Maggots guys coming from Illinois. We got on the women's side, we got Hartford running a ladies game, a ladies team too. We've got Columbus University coming in for the women. And then we got, usual slate of your Florida teams, your Miami, your Tridents, your Naples, your Orlandos. So, we got a stacked tournament. We're packed all day. So
and your Fort Lauderdale days. Don't forget them.
What's that?
And your Fort Lauderdale days. You forgot to mention the host team.
Well, I mean, I hope that would go without saying, though. Yeah. Oh, and actually, we also have the ladies Matrix game on there the same day.
That's right.
So, we've got a bunch of stuff going on.
Let me just say this. I'm really glad that you have these other things going on, because my Ruggerfest was one of the first tournaments I got to go when I got into rugby here. And one of the most attractive things is that you had so many things going on, because back in the time you guys used to host a bunch of Matrix college games.
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of those. You had that Premier Division where that was the one time I wish we could, moving forward, maybe try to get that into the tournament, like the really good rugby that you were able to see once in the season. We had some amazing games, and all around it was, I know it's really hard you would probably need to go back to the 2 days, which is, I understand it's a big jump once you went,
Yeah, Ruggerfest has gone through its ups and downs, over the last few years. But, I think, ultimately it's obviously the longest running tournament in Florida by some considerable distance. So, we take in Fort Lauderdale, our club, we take a great deal of pride in the tournament. Our old boys do. So, for me to be able to take it on and, just be a part of it and understand the history of it means a lot. So we're going to have some very high quality rugby on the day. So, I hear what you're saying. The aim is obviously to take it back to, the glory days, so to speak. But I certainly think, based on last year and moving into this year, we're certainly moving in the right direction. So I think the momentum's on our side right now.
For sure. Maybe we could just throw a couple of grand of that prize money at just some elite teams to perhaps come down at some point. I know it's obviously MLR.
Look, we've got $4,000 for the winner. That can't be sneered at. We're lucky enough that we have some pretty strong ties in local business in Fort Lauderdale.
Very important.
A lot of these guys have really come forward and, put their hands in their pockets and supported us. And not just on that side of things, but, helping young guys out with jobs and careers and futures and all that stuff. Because, you guys know better than anybody that a rugby club isn't just somewhere where you go and play. It's your friends, it's your family, it's your work, it's everything. It takes up, massive aspects of your life. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to give back to the club, just because, pretty much everything that I have in Florida, moving here from England, is pretty much revolves around the rugby club. So just to be able to give something back and get the tournament going it feels good for me.
Now, the big question everybody wants to know, Nick, when will the schedule be out? This is always
here's
the first version of the schedule. The first version of the schedule.
So provisionally it is out. I am, yes. Just this message loud and clear. We can accept more entries for the next 2 or 3 days. If so, for example, South Florida pretty much committed this evening. So it was one of these, and it was the same thing last year. I was getting calls on Wednesday and Thursday before the tournament.
I know how it goes with my sevens team.
Yeah, can we get in? Can we get in? So
yeah, it's a Friday schedule. It's a Friday schedule.
So we'll get the official schedule will be out on Friday.
Yeah.
Listen, I always tell them, look, if you give me if your entry gives me a nice even number, then I'll let you in. If you're giving me if your entry means 7 teams or 11 teams, then
Hey, look, we're not turning away anyone's entry fee. That's for sure.
I know you could do with another women's team. I guess you got 3 at the moment, Nick. You could
we have 3. Yeah, we've got Fort Miami, we've got Columbus University, and we've got
Columbia.
Yeah, sorry, correct. My bad. Apologies.
That's all right.
Columbia University. But yeah, I mean, my hope would be if the Jacksonville ladies come down and play their matrix, that they could stick around and maybe play a few games of 10s and try and win $1,000. But
yeah, grab some Indian River players that are stragglers that are hanging around on the way down. You got to go by there anyway.
I feel pretty good that we might actually sneak in a 4th team before the end of the week.
All right, good stuff. Well, Brian Piccolo Park, Saturday starting at 9. Nick, is that
9 o'clock? Yeah.
9 o'clock. Brian Piccolo has hosted Sunshine State Game 7s, Charlie, if you remember back in the day. So it's not a rugby virgin. It has hosted some rugby events, but I'm looking forward to this Saturday. Ton of great rugby down there in Hollywood or Cooper City. People say it's in Hollywood, people say it's in Cooper City, but down that way. So head down there and check out the longest running tournament in Florida, and it should be a fun day of rugby for sure. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Nick. We'll be in touch.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, Nick, Charlie, we got 15 minutes. Let's run through. You got some highlights of other games you want to show first, right?
I'm going to show this one right now that is supplied by Mr. Mike Gomez, which takes he takes the time to create these highlights that have been improving.
Vantage point. This might be the highest vantage point camera I've ever seen in Florida rugby history, Charlie. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I wish I had one of these, man.
What is it? We don't know what it is.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't fit in the car,
What is it? A lift? Is it a?
I'm not sure if they have some big
scaffold like FAU had for a little while. I don't know if they still have that scaffold.
FAU, they have it in the shed.
It's in the shed. They do have a home game this Saturday. Nice stiff arm there by the big man and the handoff. The first try here by USF in the green and I'm going to call it late yellow. Those are some nice looking jerseys. I want to look at those jerseys.
Those are
FSU
new,
traditional hoops. A referee Alfredo Lopez there, one of our up and coming refs on the West Coast. This was a nice little run here. Hit the gap. Took advantage of that not flat defensive line. 2 stiff.
And how can you miss that tackle? I've seen so many. The bad technique for tackling, it just kills you, right? Because when you tackle, you have to be committed in here and just, apply.
He didn't really make a move on that fullback either. He just sort of ran right by him.
Yeah.
But listen, as a former fat fullback myself, I know those one-on-one tackles are the hardest ones to make when if you don't make it, it's going to be a try. And then off the kickoff here, FSU coming back down the other way. Nice little cut back inside. I think FSU might be a fixture this year, Charlie. I know.
Well, they're doing pretty well, right?
They're off to a good start. They will have to come down here and play FAU in a few weeks, which should be a big tilt. I think that's going to be an evening game, which you and I are big fans of evening games, Charlie. I think I texted you earlier today.
Yeah, you did.
This one, center making the cut here and a nice little pass out wide. And they're going to be the score in the corner, I think. FSU do come out on the end of this one. It was a little closer. USF came back here at the end. It would make it a 27-19 win for the Seminoles up in Tallahassee. So FSU schedule, they've obviously got the 2 wins under their belt so far. They do play against UCF next weekend, which is a big one. They will travel to UF on the Friday evening of alumni weekend in Gainesville. So that should be a great crowd there for that game. And then down here to play FAU on the 26th. And then somehow they have a month off. Don't play again until March 26th. They do. They don't play again until March 26th when they will host UNF in their league finale. I assume it's something to do with spring break and just the way the schedule fell, I guess. But that hopefully they can find a friendly in there to fill the time. But a nice win for the Seminoles over the USF, who, listen, USF a couple of years ago, I think, went undefeated before the pandemic. And, a historic program. Gordon, we forgot to say hi to Gordon, Charlie, who's retired.
Campbell.
Gordon Campbell from USF, longtime coach and director of rugby there, has announced his retirement. So congratulations, Gordon, if you're watching.
And we'll definitely have him sometime.
We will have a Gordon episode, I think.
That's a nice try.
Try off the kick. There were some nice tries in this game. Some good straight running.
That's the end.
So FSU coming out on top in that.
Listen, I just mentioned Gordon. One of my first memories when I just started doing the website, and it's related to Ruggerfest because I was calling people trying to find out who is who. So I got on the phone with Gordon.
Yes.
And I remember, I don't know why I always remember this. Like, he just sounded so grumpy, like not very friendly.
He can come across like that.
And I remember that I was mentioning, I don't know if Ruggerfest was going to be like in a few weeks. And I asked him about Ruggerfest, and I don't care about Ruggerfest. That always stood in my mind. Then I got to meet him, and obviously a huge, one of the legends.
He is. We'll certainly have an episode of his own to talk with Gordon. All right, let's go over the results, Charlie, from this weekend before looking ahead to the 12th. Obviously, not as many games happening this weekend because of Ruggerfest.
Yeah, we had, including the U14 games that sometimes have a ref, 30 games.
Oof. Listen, don't remind me. Big thanks to all the refs who stepped up and ref multiple games.
Oh my God!
Yesterday, It's not easy to do. I wasn't supposed to ref, but one of our refs got stuck in Boston with the storm, so I had to step up and ref my game, which we'll get to in a second.
Let me get this thing on the screen. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, tons of action. So we talked about. Yeah, zoom in a little bit there. It's in a different order than it is on my screen, but that's all right.
Oh, so what are you looking?
I don't know.
Are you looking at this
there was
page?
a friendly there. There was a friendly there. Okay, that's why I was. I'm on the main screen, but anyway.
Oh. This one is.
I was just on the home screen, which was in a different order.
But this one is better because we see the referees and.
We do, which we'll get into that in a second. So we had a friendly, which was women. I know this was the men, so we did have a women's friendly as well. This was the men. Pelican B, which don't normally have a team, they put out a team to play Crew B, and Crew B came out on that one, top of that one, 40-3. UNF picking up a victory against FIU up in Jacksonville. Impressive result there. UCF edged the University of Florida. A lot of close college games so far, Charlie.
Yeah.
We had that a couple of close college ones last week. Then we saw the FSU beating USF 27-19. Tridents Boca, we already talked about, 53-5. Brevard, this was a rematch of the match from, I think it was a week or two ago, up in Jacksonville. Brevard hosting Jacksonville. This one was perhaps the score we expected, 40-12 for Brevard, who continue to be one of the better sides on the D3 side of things. Now the game I referee, Charlie. Palm Beach Panthers 48, Miami Rugby 28. It was an interesting game. You have some highlights from that one, I think. Do you, Charlie?
I do. You can start talking.
It was interesting for a number of reasons. There were a couple of bizarre tries. There was just, the usual Florida rugby nonsense. I made a Facebook post about it because there's me with my pink shirt turned inside out because I got there and I realized I only had one shirt and it was a pink shirt, so that wasn't going to work.
Man,
there we are down at Ron Amon Park in North Havana.
No. Hey, listen. Let me clarify that because you really do not know shit about Miami. Okay.
I just know it's way down there, Charlie. It takes me an hour to get there from my house.
This would be like Kendall. Okay. This is South Miami. Okay.
Yeah, it's way down there. It's
Havana.
It's an hour for me, right by Killian High School. There's the first try by the Pink Panthers, who brought down a good squad. Actually, that was the penalty try. Yes, that was a penalty try for the high tackle.
Yeah. Many people don't really understand.
I love giving penalty tries because it means I don't have to worry about the conversion. But Miami hung around in this one, Charlie. They're a good tackling team. They've got some. They don't have a coach yet, so they don't really have an identity as a team. But they hung around.
It is a team like getting reorganized at this point.
Yeah, they're getting themselves sorted. They've got some good numbers, of course. We got Beanie here and Luke and Beaumont. They got some serious athletes on this Palm Beach team. Now, this was the first of the strange tries, Charlie.
Catch me if you can.
Where does he put this ball down?
Oh my God. Well, he can do that, right?
He can do that. Yes,
he can, right? There's nothing that prevents you from.
That was our first issue of the day.
Grounding the ball whenever you want at whatever time.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anybody cross in front of the post to put it down in front of the posts. It was a try. Yes, he didn't. There was nobody there to try and poach. He didn't have to release, so there was no tackle. He didn't even go down. He just got the bug up and put the ball back down again.
Well, now he knows.
Now he knows not to do it. Another good bit of athleticism here. Good work here by Beatty. Off he goes to the races. A couple of nice cuts.
He needs a black short for sure.
He's a tough man to stop. Went by three guys there. You can't give him the space in open play. That's how you put the ball down.
Yeah, don't drop
with
it.
Authority. Conversion by the hooker, Jimmy, the Irish hooker. Yes. Their normal kicker, Justin Philpott, was on the bench. He did come on in the second half and making a couple of penalties from 40 meters out. Miami were held up here, almost right on the line, but then they would get it over eventually. Their big number 8. Yeah, I just confirmed confirming the touchdown there. Look at me. I should have gone on one knee like Kyle does.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it. So Miami were within a couple of tries for most of the sort of first. Palm Beach did pull away late in this one.
Now we know about that stand where they filmed.
Oh, Mike's got one of those high pods. Okay,
I have a Corolla, so hey, Michael, send me one, man. I'll put you as a sponsor.
Was this a try, Charlie? We need to have a slow motion one of this one. Palm Beach guy, there was a slight shove, perhaps.
Oh my God!
But listen, Charlie, we know when you're running back for the ball, what's the first thing you do, Charlie?
I don't know.
We dive on the ball, Charlie. We dive on the ball when we're running backwards for the
ball.
Oh. And he did not do that there. If he'd have done what he was supposed to be doing, he would not have been slightly shoved in the back, perhaps. And we wouldn't have had to worry about that decision by me. Again, I missed in a split second. I was focused on the ball, and then the non-put down by Miami, and Palm Beach took advantage. Here's another try from close in by Miami. I'm going to ignore the blocking by Cuba. I'm not sure if it really had an impact on that one. But the last try in this game is the one we want to watch, Charlie. I don't know if we'll get to it in a minute here.
It's coming now.
It is coming up. Here's Philpott supplying a nice straight run there by the inside center. He's a big lad.
You said Cuba was playing?
Cuba came on second half. Yeah, here is that Palm Beach starting to pull away here in the middle of the second half. As Philpott with the first of his conversions. This was from good 40 meters here in this one. Wow. Especially with that weird post, which is about as straight as that pitch there.
Yeah,
that's about as straight as that pitch there at Ron Amon Park in Kendall.
It's a nice place, but the pitch is weird because
it's very strangely oriented. Yeah. I would say. As here, Palm Beach again with the try, almost ran out the back of the
almost
goal.
Ran out. Yeah,
yes.
I guess the coach told him put it down.
And here's the weird one. Palm Beach have the ball inside, almost in their own end goal. It bounced around about 5 times here.
Like 14 forward
passes. We're trying to have a clearing kick. It got deflected, hit the post, and then landed in the Tridents guy's hands. We need to get a slow motion one of that for next time, Charlie.
Yeah.
It was one of the stranger tries I've ever called. It was, blocked. So everybody was on side. It hit the post and then landed in the...
I'm always amazed how you guys can make all those determinations in a split second. Who's on side, who is not. I don't know how you do that.
No, man. that was a very strange try. It was one of those ones driving home. I was like, did I get that one right? But when you see that initial deflection, this was this guy's first ever try in rugby. He just started playing in the fall. That was his first ever try. Congratulations to him. I didn't get his name, but it was his first ever try. But yeah, in those situations, especially when it's half blocked, you know everybody's on side, so that makes it a little easier.
Oh, okay.
And then it hit the post, and I did call them the Tridents, though. Listen, I'm not allowed to call them the Bumblebees anymore, so I apologize.
Hey, come on.
That's if I did call them the Tridents. But yeah, 48-28 win for Palm Beach there, who stay undefeated so far. Let's look at some other results, Charlie. If you can bring up that screen again, and we'll finish this.
Let me just tell this guy, come back and play, you little coward.
Yeah, I did see him on the sideline.
Yeah, man.
Recently.
He's giving
maybe he'll be playing this weekend in the Old Boys at Ruggerfest.
Oh, maybe, yeah. He's getting older for sure. Okay.
Well, as long as he's getting older, that's good, Charlie. If he stops getting older, I'll be sad.
Listen, Ross, you have to leave in 5 minutes, so let's go.
That's fine. Listen, we got time to go over these scores, so let's go over the rest of these scores.
So we were.
That's the last thing we've got.
Tampa.
I can't see any scores, Charlie, so I'm not going to.
Because I'm looking at them on my.
You got to push the button. All right, so we saw Palm Beach 28, Miami 28, Tampa Crew. Swift will continue their struggles. That's their third straight loss, I think.
I think so.
Not mistaken. So they're down to 0-3. So the chance of them, I think, making the championship cup playoffs might be tight at this point. So Crew win that one 24-12. Pelly's with a 1-point win over Sarasota in that West Coast battle there. Okapi with an impressive performance, Charlie. They're off to a good start here. We always wonder when Okapi we're going to get it together. Is this the year?
Maybe.
48-19. Again, Fort Lauderdale, have struggled the last few years. Not sure what kind of team they put out. But Okapi with a big win there by nearly 30 points. So they're 2-0 on the season, I think, after beating, if not 3-0. They beat Tridents B at the game I was at. FGCU men are done, so forget about them. Listen, got rid of Frank Williams, and they've lost 2 games rather heavily, Charlie. Eckerd, it was Ave Maria last week. This time it's Eckerd beating the piss out of the Hurricanes, which is, listen, I'm an FAU fan, so I don't mind seeing the Hurricanes getting smashed. Daytona continue their strong start to the season, 24-20 win over Tridents B.
Yeah, this was a tight. I was there. This was a tight game.
Listen, Tridents B, that team's got some serious talent. If they take who I thought they may have taken, they had some talent out there. Obviously, learning to play together as a team. Maybe a little older, but it's a good win there by Daytona.
Yeah, they traveled with 15 players, so kudos to them.
Do you have this score? I thought I saw Ocala won, Charlie. This one is this the right way around?
No. Yeah, you saw it because I posted it incorrectly the first time.
Gainesville, 40-5 winners over Ocala. So nice to see Gainesville getting back on track.
One of the 30 games I messed up.
That's all right.
I don't know. We don't have, for some reason.
Don't have a score from that game. Alfredo, get on. No, he didn't do that game. That was Jason Browning did that game. We did get a score. You texted it to me earlier, Charlie.
I did. This one?
Did. Yes, it was. Oh, no, you did. Sorry. No, I stand corrected. You texted me a U19 score. So we don't have the score for that game.
Sorry.
We mentioned Indian River Claymores with that big win over Orlando with heavy hearts. Good stuff there from Indian River Claymores. Stop moving the screen. You're killing me. I'm happy with that 4-point win. Do we have highlights from that game, Charlie?
We do.
Well,
you can maybe
play the highlights from that game, and I'll go over some of the other scores because Okapi and Wellington, always a good rivalry matchup. Okapi,
here we are.
Mariano Gallo will agree with me that he was talking all sorts of jazz before the season of how good this U19's Okapi team were going to be, and they've had some squeakers. They haven't lost yet, but they've had some squeakers. I know they've tied, right? They tied a game, I think, already.
They tied against Boca. Let's look at this try. It's one of those.
Let's get it wide.
Oh,
not that. Yeah. He's a good little player, this Wellington fullback.
Catch that guy for sure.
He's a good little player, this Wellington fullback. I always forget his name.
He actually scored all the 3 tries for Wellington.
He is very good. He's also growing as well. He's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Player to look out for at the next level. Also on the U19 side of things, I'm going to go down my other scores here on my other screen, Charlie. Tampa U19, 12. Swiftwell Hammerheads U19, 7. A low-scoring affair there on the West Coast. As Tampa...
All those games in Tampa are very low scoring.
Yeah, listen, Tampa always known as a physical side, right? So that's their first win of the season after dropping games to Cape and Wellington to start things off. So a good win for Tampa there. Cape 19-29, Jacksonville 12.
That's
Cape.
That's a little surprising.
Yeah, listen, Cape, you never know what you're going to get with them, right? They had a heavy loss to Okapi last weekend. Well, back on the 29th of January, but nice bounce-back win there for the Pirates. Who else have we got here? We mentioned Gibbons, 52-3 over Key Biscayne, and that's the last score on the 19 side of things. I can't forget there was a women's game that happened today, Charlie. You got the score for that one. Life JV came down.
Well, apparently Life JV played 2 games. They played one on Saturday.
They did. They played Saturday and Sunday. They've got the numbers to do that. Obviously, they probably put out 2 completely different sides.
Yeah.
So
and
Life JV, that's a serious squad there. UF at least gave them a game, scored 9 points, which some teams might not even do against that.
They have a good
Life squad.
I just saw that they had a good kicker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those 9 points were penalties, And a great experience for these teams, right? Being able to
100%. When you play against better teams, you learn how to improve your game. And UF women, good stuff there. Life JV coming down, obviously, and playing as part of the Women's Collegiate League this year in Florida, giving them some games. I'm not sure if we had any Florida representatives on that side, but I'm sure somebody may let me know. I didn't have time this week to normally Life do a great job of posting their lineups as well as scores and try scorers. Somebody can fill me in on that one at some point. We can mention it next week. Good stuff, Charlie. We didn't go too far over. It's only 8:01. There's Thor calling me out. Listen, I make mistakes just like everybody. As I said again, if I started calling players out for their mistakes, I would lose my voice by halftime in Florida rugby. So I won't be doing that. But feel free to call me out. I miss things now and again.
Oh, so do I. Don't worry.
Exactly. Well, good stuff, Charlie, as always. So let's talk about this week real quick. We do have a few games. We do have a few games this week, other than Ruggerfest.
Yes, it's gonna be good luck with that for you. So
let's see here. We've got there are a good number of games actually.
Yeah, let me put
them. I think I've got them all covered, as far as I know. FSU hosting UCF on the men's college side of things. FIU hosting USF. FAU UNF. So a couple of games in South Florida finally on that side of things. So I know FIU have back-to-back trips to Tallahassee and Jacksonville. That's not an easy task to start the season.
I wish some of these games were played at Ruggerfest. Would be awesome, but
yeah, you got to be careful with the space. They give that feel to the touch teams, which listen, you and I know about. hosting Ave Maria in a rematch of a couple of weeks ago that Ave Maria won handily. Indian River Claymore's hosting Lakeland. Tallahassee hosting Ocala. Fort Miami Jacks. That game will be at Ruggerfest. Orlando women hosting Crew. That should be the two top teams at the moment in the women's side of things facing off.
Yeah.
Swiftwall U19 is hosting Okapi. Cape Pirates hosting Boca. That should be an interesting one. Jacksonville hosting Wellington, and then Gibbons hosting U19. That game will also be at Ruggerfest. On the women's side of things, FSU women hosting UCF. And then on the 16th, Key Biscayne hosting Okapi. That game will also be at Ruggerfest. And then Jacksonville U16s hosting Wellington. I didn't pick any winners in those games, but that's all right. We can go a week without having predictions.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you, I was contacted by somebody, not the original sideline whisperer.
Oh, yes.
Somebody else who was volunteering strongly to take that position. So maybe by next week, we may have something of that nature, which is always fun.
Sideline whisperer dose.
Yeah.
Or
the sideline whisperer.
Good stuff. Well, maybe we'll have that next week, Charlie. So, yeah, we'll have some stuff from Ruggerfest. I'm sure Charlie will be there taping on as many fields as he possibly can. Yes? No?
Yeah, I am.
So be sure to say hi. Be sure to say hi to us if you see us out there at Brian Piccolo. It'll be a fun day of rugby.
Oh, well, sure. That's a great opportunity too. I always love doing these interviews as good or bad as they go, but it's always, I think, a good opportunity when you run into people who have done.
You don't normally see. Yes, you don't normally see some people. A lot of them come out the woodwork for Ruggerfest.
Exactly. Some of the.
So Charlie will have plenty of interviews on Saturday. That's for sure. We may even have a new interviewer joining the staff. Anyway, good stuff, Charlie. Be sure to check. Thanks for those that tuned in. You can always check out the replay on Facebook, YouTube, as well as audio-wise on all major podcast platforms. If you'd like to support TFRO, you can see there at the bottom of the screen how you can help out. Sponsors, reach out to Charlie.
I'm going to ask Nick for that list of, he just mentioned a bunch of very strong donors that these guys have. Maybe we can spare one for us.
Yes, we should. Our next episode should be sponsored by Ruggerfest. There's no doubt about it. All right, Charlie. Well, thanks as always. Good work. Behind the scenes, as you do in a short amount of time. Listen, Charlie doesn't get home and get his stuff done till late Saturday night and spends all of his Sunday getting these highlights and graphics together. So greatly appreciate the effort that he puts in. It does not go unnoticed, I know, by many. I just come and talk. That's all I do.
Okay.
So we'll see you guys next Sunday night, 7 p.m. I will be off the following week because I'll be in England, Charlie. So you'll have to find another co-host for that one unless you want to do it on your own.
I forgot about that.
But I will be around on the 13th.
You can do it live from England. It's only like what?
At midnight? Well, I mean, listen, Mike Friday did do that, but I'm not sure what kind of state I'll be in.
Oh my God. What are you gonna watch? Oh, the Wasps thing, right?
I'm watching Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest on the Friday. Wasps Harlequins at Harlequins on the Saturday. Yes, then our dinner is Tuesday night. And I'll be back on the Wednesday.
Okay. You may not have a job when you come back. Be careful.
Yeah, I've got that. I think I will. I think I'm all right. All right, boy. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Very much. Bye-bye.